Hi again, this is part 3 of the random albums I've found in that box of records I have here in the house. And the first of these is The Nice. And The Nice were Keith Emerson's basically band, the late 1960s. One of the first prog bands with the Moody Blues, I would say. And this is a single compilation album on British Pickwick. It's a budget label. They're very good, very much like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but more with a classical feel. Emerson, Lake and Palmer's third album, Trilogy. This is McCartney's album Wings Wildlife, and it was a bit of a stinker. No hits on it, didn't sell very well. It's really not that great an album, especially in light of the fact it came out after the Ram album, which was absolutely brilliant. McCartney Red Rose Speedway, which is kind of a bit of a comeback album for him. I like this album more than a lot of people do. This is the McCartney 2 album, and later on in the 70s, McCartney's solo albums and his Wings albums became very dicey. A few good tracks and a lot of mediocre tracks on these albums. Tug of War. Eric Clapton, this is his first solo album. I think it was released around 1970. It has Let It Rain on it. This album came in 2 different jackets, and Clapton, this is basically the basis of the Derek and the Dominoes album. He borrowed Delaney and Bonnie's band and put out his first really pretty good album. John Lennon, Rock and Roll. This is his album of rock and roll covers that was produced by Phil Spector. John Lennon, Shaved Fish, the Plastic Ono Band. This is a collection of his hit singles from the early 1970s, and it's a pretty decent album. Then and Now, Best of the Monkees. It's a single album. It has some of the early hits from the 60s, and I think they had some new releases, or a couple new songs from the 1970s when they put this out. The Wailers Wail, Tall Cool One. The Wailers were a band from the Pacific Northwest. They were kind of a cross between maybe the Sonics and the Ventures, kind of instrumental, surfy type of guitar, and pretty good actually. The Travelin' Wilburys. This version of the Wilburys had Dylan, Jeff Lynne, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, and George Harrison. Creedence Clearwater Revival, the double album live in Europe, and this was after Tom Fogerty had left the band. There they are in a private jet or something. Peter Frampton Comes Alive. 2 records or 2 discs in Canada. And the Tommy soundtrack, the soundtrack to the movie Tommy. It's a crazy movie, but lots of fun. Thank you for watching.